Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As of tonight, social media companies have snubbed the government of India, openly defying the norms set out by the government, refusing to comply with the guidelines that had been put out by the Information and Technology Ministry. Now, what's made it worse is that Facebook's famous subsidiary, WhatsApp, has now gone to court against the new guidelines on the day the time period for complying with them came to an end. And they've claimed that the principal foundation of the existence of WhatsApp itself is being violated by these guidelines, which is the principle of privacy of the consumer. Now, what did the government allow? The government, when it required for specific instances, be allowed to trace back the originator of a particular message or a rogue message that may have created a disturbance in public peace, or it had spread disinformation that had the potential of creating public setbacks and was against public interest. WhatsApp in its suit has filed and contended that the company will have to break the end-to-end encryption promised to the users of WhatsApp in order to trace this origin, and therefore this is a deal breaker as far as the guidelines are concerned. While the government argues that right to privacy has national security exceptions, and those upholding free speech have claimed the law may trigger misuse by the authorities. While the government claims privacy of normal users will remain intact, WhatsApp backers argue that the law goes against the basic tenet of the application's promise to its own users. The government cites the Information Technology Act to store and share data as and when sought by the authorities, but critics claim that the Information Technology Act does not allow the traceability of the originator. While the government insists it wants the know-how of the originator but not the content, experts suggest that the trail will leave the entire chain's messages exposed to the authorities and compromise every single person using the platform. While the government claims it didn't ask the messaging app to break its end-to-end encryption, experts suggest the law leaves no scope but to break the same. Those backing the government law have accused WhatsApp of duplicity, as their own private policy has come under a cloud over privacy concerns. But those backing WhatsApp claim that the company is ready to engage on valid legal requests to ensure security, but is unwilling to do a blanket provision in their technology. While the government contends that social media giants have to adhere to the law of the land, critics cite the same law to safeguard their interests and that of their users. And here's why. The opposition today is backing the privacy groups and especially the intermediaries like WhatsApp. Listen.
Any enforcement of law that negatively impacts or impinges upon the fundamental right to privacy would be held to be unconstitutional. And I say so rising above partisan or political lines.
Are you living in China? Are you living in a dictatorial regime like North Korea, which of course I believe you are in many ways now with this kind of rules, which tells you that you cannot use ABCD. It doesn't matter whether it's called Google or WhatsApp or whatever, but you can use XYZ, which we provide for you.
We have a government which continues to undermine every democratic norms just because it enjoys unchecked power, and it enjoys creating a platform or controlling platforms which continue to serve their agenda and their purpose. Anyone going against it will be held in violation of law. This is extremely unfortunate.
Clear line is to be drawn in a very appropriate, balanced way as to where does the freedom of expression or right to privacy end and where does the issue of national security crops up.
So the legitimate question on the News Hour tonight is just one. Is WhatsApp's privacy card to oppose these norms valid? That's the question and the debate. Modi government versus WhatsApp. That's the hashtag and the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight is Shehzad Poonawalla, lawyer, Mohandas Pai, chairman of Aryan Capital Partners, Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst, Zulfikar Menon, advocate, Dilip Cherian, founder of Perfect Relations. But my first question goes to Member of Parliament and BJP's national spokesperson, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, I want to ask you, this is possibly round 2 of the BJP government's spat with the intermediaries. You use these intermediaries when it suits you. That's what people say. Twitter is used to propagate your messages. It built the persona of the Prime Minister in the run-up to his election debut at the national level in 2014. And now today it's inconvenient to you, not giving you the kind of praise that it used to. And therefore you're going after Twitter, Facebook and WhatsApp now. I want to ask you, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, people are saying you're behaving like a tyrant. You are eroding issues of privacy, which are fundamental rights, and issues of democracy, which should be ensured. That's how the opposition is saying that any controls on WhatsApp will mean that democracy will be undermined. Respond to that.
So now, give me a couple of minutes because I have to respond to this very clearly and emphatically. First of all, to this issue of the opposition suddenly finding great cause with privacy being a fundamental right. And I just want to point out very respectfully to the opposition Gyanis on this panel that they were the ones who tooth and nail opposed privacy as a fundamental right from 2010 to 2015 before the Supreme Court gave it. Number one. Number two, I saw with some amusement the Shiv Sena, the orator-in-chief of the Shiv Sena, talk about privacy and power and responsibility. These are the people who go beat up people in offices in Mumbai at the drop of a hat when they don't like something that they hear or an opposing view. So leave that to the side. I don't think the opposition has much of a view on this, should not have much of a view on this, excepting to effectively fly a few more kites about Narendra Modi ji's failures. Here is the fact. These intermediary guidelines are subordinate legislations under the IT Act that were promulgated in February 2021. The objective of these intermediary guidelines are to create more accountability for these big tech platforms. Accountability not to the government, accountability to their consumers, to the communities that they serve. And there are a series of things in the intermediary guidelines that are there, including compliance officer, grievance officer, all of that. And one part of it is this traceability issue that WhatsApp has raised today. And to that, let me say this, Navika. For WhatsApp to go put out there that traceability is a binary, is the opposite of privacy being a fundamental right, is amusing and wrong at the same time. It is amusing because WhatsApp and Facebook have made a career, as the Congress gentleman will know through Cambridge Analytica, by violating privacy day in and day out. So for them to become, angels of privacy today is a bit ironical, number one. Number two, traceability and privacy are not binaries. And if there are 4 technology guys that WhatsApp wants to hire, they will develop a traceability mechanism and traceability tools that do not involve inspection or violating of encryption or violating of privacy of any kind. It is called tagging of packets. This, in my opinion, is a deliberate attempt by WhatsApp to take the conversation after 90 days. By the way, they have remained silent for these last 90 days. On the 91st day, they approached the court, and that they are well within their rights to approach the court. But to spin this as being a protector of privacy and protector of encryption, respectfully I contend today, is wrong, is falsehood, and is something usually that the Congress would do.
Well, First, for the political point to Tehseen Poonawalla, Rajiv Chandrasekhar is right. We've seen what Cambridge Analytica went out to do, and in fact, look at the way these platforms work in the first place. There are keywords based on which algorithms are made. There are keywords based on which trends are seen. There are keywords based on which hate messages are looked at. So they are in any case tagging these kind of content within the platform that they run. On top of that, they give their own editorial tags and labels to things. So I want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, is the opposition of the view that these people who follow the laws and the norms set up by Singapore, Australia, the European Union, the United States of America should go absolutely loose and free as far as Indians are concerned? Simply because, after all, we are Indians, poor Indians, and therefore they can cock a snook at us. If we have a problem, we will go to the United States of America to approach or to question them in their courts. Why should we question them in Indian courts? I mean, are we losing the plot here, Tehseen?
Parliament made two sets of points. I'll address the first and then the second. The first point, I wish the Honourable Member of Parliament would have read a little bit more and come and be more prepared for this debate, because it was Tehseen Poonawalla and a couple of other people who approached the Honourable Supreme Court in the Aadhaar, against Aadhaar, where the right to privacy judgment came. And I was represented by two Congress lawyers, Kapil Sibal and KPS Tulsi, and the government of Sri Narendra Modi ji opposed right to privacy as a fundamental right. And it was only after it was upheld, the interview on Times Now, where Ravi Shankar Prasad ji told you, ma'am, that we supported it, which was a lie. They opposed it in court. I was the opposing party. Let's be clear on that. Now let's come to the second point. The second point is that why is suddenly WhatsApp and Twitter and all of these mediums under threat? They are under threat because it is on these mediums that we save lives. It is on this medium Prime Minister Modi's incompetence is exposed. And it is on this medium that people know that it is because of oxygen, lack of oxygen, that black fungus has come up and people are dying, and the actual reality is coming out. To hide his incompetence, the government is doing it. I dare the government to tell us why are black fungus cases. It is because of lack of oxygen, and to hide this, they are trying to and lack of medicine. Therefore, they are going after these mediums. If not that, tell us today on this show that these mediums that have saved lives are against the country. They have used these mediums to save lives, while you all have used this medium.
No. I want to interrupt you right here, Tehseen Poonawalla, because there is a viral WhatsApp message that is doing the rounds, which says, and Mohandas Pai, I want you to answer this. There is a viral message which points out that anybody who takes a vaccination today will die after 2 years. This is a WhatsApp viral message that is going on. So for all the good work that happens in these platforms, and people like Tehseen Poonawalla may have used it to their advantage, for every 100 good things, there is one bad thing that happens. Is it his argument that one bad thing that is happening should not be attended to, should not be looked at, should not be found out? Who's spreading this disinformation? Because in rural areas, possibly this can be the biggest misinformation that can defeat our fight against COVID. Mohandas Pai?
Navika, I find it so funny to hear these people defend a private company, and to think that the private company will defend the right of freedom of expression and defend democracy is a big joke. The only thing that can demand our democracy and freedom of expression is the rule of law. Law is laid down by Parliament in this country, irrespective of which party is in power. If the UPA was in power today, they will do the same thing, because the government has to defend all of us. It is the government that defends us, guarantees of freedom of expression and democracy, subject to the constitution and subject to the courts upholding the same. I think, this is very funny that they depend upon the tender mercy of a private company registered outside, run by an ideologue who can do whatever they want, use their data, sell it to anybody, give it to anybody. Navika, tell me, do you think the NSA of the United States cannot subpoena all this data and take it in the US? The US security agencies don't have access to this data. Will WhatsApp say no to a subpoena from a court and the NSA in the United States? They will not. The United States is very clear. Whatever is there belongs to them, and they have the first right under national security. Under national security, every government has the right.
and that is to protect citizens of the country. If you feel that their rights are abused, you can go to court and the court will decide. But somebody to come public and say that a private company will defend the rights as against the government which doesn't defend the rights, they don't trust their own government, is so silly. It is incapable of even being debated. Let's be very clear about that. There is no merit in that. If WhatsApp wants to do business in this country, they must conform to the law of this country. If they don't like the law, they can go to court. And the Supreme Court is within its power to strike it down if it's unconstitutional. What is constitutional and unconstitutional doesn't depend upon what any one of us say. It depends on what the Supreme Court interprets. And the Supreme Court has interpreted that our rights are not total. Our rights are subject to reasonable conditions. And the reasonable conditions include the right of the national government to look at national security and take appropriate action. So WhatsApp does not have any basis for the argument. And all these people supporting it, I don't know which country they come, what they're thinking, and what they can do. Today, if they were in government, their government was there, which is not there.
Absolutely, and another rebuttal coming to Tehseen Poonawalla. And Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, may I tell you that the Information and Technology and Telecom and Law Minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, is watching this debate, and he has clarified to the point that you made, and he said it is wrong to say that the government or the BJP did not support the right to privacy. In fact, he says after the judgment on privacy was delivered, it was the BJP and he himself who held a press conference and upheld and supported the judgment on the right to privacy.
Yes,
so to take the moral high ground, that's
they oppose it in court. That's the point.
Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, you cannot just put a point of view that was said in one place and not a point of view which came later and corrected the earlier position. So facts are important. Facts are important, and allow me to get it. 1 minute. I had to set the record straight. I have to set the record straight because you made a public statement, and I have a message from the Union Minister himself, and I'm setting the record straight. But let me get in Dilip Cherian. I'll come back to you, Tehseen. Mr. Dilip Cherian, I want to ask you one question. Well, there is a difference of opinion between WhatsApp and the government. As Mohandas Pai and Rajiv Chandrasekhar before him have said that there is a law of the land, and these companies have followed the laws of the land in other countries. It is in India that they haven't. Why? Why should India be a playground for these companies where safeguards should not be built into the entire framework of guidelines that have been put? Question number one. Question number two, the intent to go to court on the 91st day after the 90 days deadline is over. That is where the intent comes in, and that is why I want to ask you, Dilip Cherian, does this not display, and it's a question I want to ask you, does this not display malafide that they never had any plans of keeping up with the laws of the land as had been put out? If they had, they should have challenged it during that period, not after it.
There are two questions you've asked, and let me address both of them. The first is that as far as India being treated in isolation to other countries, I don't think that India could stand for it, and India must not. That's the first point. Don't forget that Twitter told Donald Trump to take a walk when he was trying to bully them. So let's not think that these big companies are not standing up to their point of view, owned privately or otherwise. They stand up for their point of view wherever they want to. So it's up to them, and they have to choose when they want to do that.
Pardon me for interrupting you. No. First question. Interruption on the first point that you made. When did they object to Trump? The timing is important, Dilip Cherian. Yeah. The timing is important at a time when he was acting in a brazen manner and everybody knew that the election had gone against him. It is at that time that Twitter found it convenient to strike at Donald Trump, not before that. And he had made outrageous statements even before that. So let's not be fooled, Dilip Cherian.
He was still the president of the United States of America. But I'll take your point and I'll concede that yes, they struck him when the election results had gone ahead. But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that in Senate hearing after Senate hearing, they have stood their ground. This is not a binary. This is not, if not in America, why not in India? The walled garden concept of any technology is that either you choose to be part of it or you choose to be out of it. You can, of course, want to rely on who and go for that option. That is also an option, and this country has to decide. And as far as your second question is concerned, I think the more germane thing is that if this change in regulation were to be made clear that it is only when there is what you pointed out in your initial statement, when there is a dire threat to national security or when there is an attempt to create communal disharmony or whatever it is, that this tracing will be asked for instead of making it a blanket provision. So I think that we are setting up straw men and then trying to tilt at them for whatever reason. There could be a political reason, but from a technology point of view, from a corporate point of view, and from a privacy point of view, I think we need to understand that what is being attempted here on the 91st day is a legal route to take, and I think that is the way companies should function in India if they understand and respect the rule of law.
Okay. Mohandas Pai brings the corporate view, and so Mohandas Pai respond to Dilip Cherian.
Navika, first of all, in the United States, there's a law which gives exemption to the social media platforms, purposely put in the law to say, so long as they don't censor or they don't edit, they're not responsible for the content. All right, that's the law of the United States, and that's why they could go after Trump. And now the law is under threat because everybody wants to change the law because they found that this law is being abused by these people to take political sides by the different issue. Secondly, the justice of the sitting justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, Clarence Thomas, extremely well known, who stands for freedom, who stands for all the rights, he has gone on record publicly to say it is time that the United States had a legislation to declare these social platforms as public utilities so that the rights of citizens can be safeguarded by the government, not by Twitter. A private contract cannot safeguard your rights. I want any one of them to tell me, including Dilip, whether he has read the contract with Twitter, which he signs every time he enters. We say, accept. We don't read the contract. It is so one-sided with Google, all the social platforms. They can't protect you. They can shut you up. They can take up everybody. Dilip can be shut up tomorrow. Everybody can be removed tomorrow. Navika, you can be removed. What is the right of appeal? There is no right of appeal. They decide whoever it is. They decide whom to support, what to support. That cannot work because the party is over. And even in Supreme Court, they want to declare them a public utility. If they do that, they'll be subject to laws, rules, and regulations which can be challenged in court. All I'm saying is obey the law. If you don't like it, go to court and let the court decide. And that is the law. And government is within his right to do that. And let's not criticize the government. Let the Supreme Court decide.
But they've gone to court.
Navika, may I please
well,
come in now?
I want to also, I'm coming to you, Shehzad Poonawalla, and I want to point out two facts that have come out of the argument made by Mr. Dilip Cherian. Number one, he wants to give the benefit of doubt to Twitter. Well, on the Trump issue, may I tell you that just 5 days before his exit from his office of the president, when he created a riot-like situation on the Capitol, is when Twitter took their position against Trump. Just 5 days before he was virtually thrown out of office, number one. And number two, I want to tell you, Mr. Dilip Cherian, the clarification is in the law. Tracing only messages that cause crime and heinous cases which invite more than 5 years of jail sentence. So the government is not saying...
We are setting up a straw man to try and tilt at it. All I'm saying is that the companies, whether we want them to function or not, is a matter of the sovereign right of this country. But if we want the function with them, then you need to explain to them that this is a right which will be exercised only in exceptional and truly exceptional cases.
Why?
But it is stated in the guidelines. Where is the question? No. Shehzad Poonawalla, I want to ask you this question. I want to ask you a question, Shehzad Poonawalla. Now, we have to explain to the company that we will work with you and you should adhere to our conditions. Why should we explain this to companies? Why should companies not understand automatically that they have to abide by the rule of law of the country that they are operating in and making profits in? Why is it the other way around, Shehzad Poonawalla?
Now, Navika, I have a few points to make, and let me begin by saying that the person who has SMS'd you is the same person who spent his lifetime fighting against the suppression of freedom of speech during the emergency, and the person who spoke after, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, is the person who spent his lifetime defending the suppression of freedom of speech, whether it was 66A or whether it was the emergency. That's the highlight of the entire hypocritical argument. But let me complete without interruption. Point number one. The first point that I have to make is that look who's talking. The Cambridge Analytica fame wali WhatsApp company owned by Facebook, the same company which is happy to sell my private data and metadata to Facebook sometimes and to some other advertisers sometimes, is preaching me on privacy. It's like the same thing like Rahul Gandhi preaching me on merit and the Congress party preaching me on freedom of speech. Point number two. Do you know that all of this is happening in the light of the Supreme Court judgment of 2019, Union of India versus Facebook, where the Supreme Court has mandated the government of India, and if you want, I can quote what the Supreme Court has said. The Supreme Court, and I'm just quoting the operative part, that it is imperative that there is a properly framed regime to find out persons, institutions, bodies who are the originators of such content messages. It was put in the light of all those lynchings and other things that were taking place. Now, this is the same Tehseen Poonawalla who's gone to court 10 times, and his entire ecosystem, including Mr. Gaurav Gogoi, wrote an article in the Hindustan Times in 2020 saying that these intermediary guidelines by the government, proposed by the government, seem to be in the right direction. In fact, he was calling for a more stringent, comprehensive, mechanism to deal with social media. Just 2 years ago, Tehseen Poonawalla would appear on platforms to say that we should have more accountability of the social media platforms. And today they are preaching and doing a U-turn on this only because they want to, in the sense, give an impression that WhatsApp is being clamped on. I want to ask Tehseen Poonawalla, is it not true? Now, here is my larger point that I want to make. Is it not true that the Supreme Court has asked for this in 2019? Number two, isn't it WhatsApp's responsibility that if there is an encryption issue, they have to come up with a technological solution? Nobody's saying that you release all your encrypted end-to-end encryption messages. But when a legal authority has asked for it in a case of a crime, why not do it? And this is something that the United States, New Zealand, United Kingdom, all these countries have asked for. So why is it that India should not ask for it when they make a market out of us?
Respond, Tehseen Poonawalla, before I get in Mr. Memon.
Shehzad Poonawalla is so misleading. First of all, Mr. Poonawalla, the Supreme Court has also asked you to make not just the draft laws, to pass the laws on the right to privacy. That committee, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, who's still watching this debate, I hope, has still not been put in. So right to privacy is still not been put in.
The decision by the Supreme Court given 2019.
I never interrupted you. Sir, I never interrupted you.
You tell me the decision in Facebook versus Union of India. And tell me the decision Tell me the decision in Facebook versus Union of India.
Allow me to speak? Sir, I never interrupted you. You got to be civil.
Did Gaurav Gogoi in his 2020 article support this or not?
Can I please?
Listen,
if he's going to heckle, I'm not interested in talking.
Did you not impose emergency? What locus do you have? The Congress party will preach this country about freedom of speech.
Ma'am, can I speak? Is it going to be a monologue? Is it his Man Ki Baat?
All right, Shehzad. All right, Shehzad. All right, Shehzad. Allow Tehseen to respond. Allow Tehseen to respond. Yes, Tehseen Poonawalla, go on.
When you do empty Man Ki Baat, it leads to nothing. So start doing Kam Ki Baat, it requires the hand. The fact of the matter is, you've not gotten the right to privacy even now into this.
Oh, please, काम की बात के कम से कम आप लेक्चर ना दें तो बेटर है तहसीन पूनावाला. काम किया होता तो बहुत सी स्टेट्स में आज कांग्रेस की सरकार होती. चलिए आगे बोलिए.
काम किया होता तो आज इकोनॉमी ऐसी नहीं होती जैसे मोदी जी के नीचे. But let's come to the issue. The issue is right now that neither the privacy guidelines that have been mandated by the Supreme Court in 2016 been made public or have been enforced by this government. So privacy is not being put by this government, and end-to-end encryption technologically is not possible. Now the simple matter is, what defines national security? Has it been defined in this law?
The Supreme Court is uninformed.
Serious crime. Please allow me to finish.
Supreme Court uninformed. Point number one. Point number two.
Please allow me to.
Oh, please. Now you want a definition of national security. Well, I'll tell you what is defined. And Mr. Dilip Cherian, this is the 1 minute, calm down, Tehseen Poonawalla. This is the message that is coming to Mr. Dilip Cherian from the policy makers. 1 minute, Dilip Cherian. The point they are making is that there is no reason for anybody to be trigger happy and to ask for the origination and traceability of the origin of a WhatsApp message, which is, the first step. What they're saying is the guidelines, the law itself says that this will be the last resort. There are several steps before this which will have to be fulfilled. So why should Twitter have a problem that if the first three options are exhausted, then you come to the traceability issue? Where is the opposition on that, Mr. Dilip Cherian?
Navika, there is no reason for us to take sides with government or take sides with the companies on this. The proof of it is in the fact that 10 policemen had to go to a closed headquarters of a company with a camera crew alongside to deliver a questionnaire and to ask something of the company. The fact is that the visuals of all of this suggest to companies that what is written in the law is not the intent of what is being attempted. That is the first thing we have to keep in mind. Why are these companies bothered? Because after all, despite all the numbers we talk about, for most of these companies, India is really a numbers market rather than a revenues market. And everybody knows that because those figures are quite public. The third thing is that companies respond or don't respond based on how they assess what is the seriousness and what is the purpose of this. Is this, as I said, something which is being put on them to tell them that, look, watch out, we have the stick to beat you with if necessary? Because I agree that the Cambridge Analytica bust-up showed what Facebook was capable of. So there is no doubt that these companies are as culpable as any other company, as any other private player is bound to be. Yes, they need to be put in line. And
so you're saying that the seriousness depends. The seriousness depends on what kind of a stick you can show, and you're also saying that numbers are important than revenues. I want to get in Zulfikar Memon.
Okay.
The question I want to ask Zulfikar Memon is, number one, why do you wait for the expiry of the 90 days period? Number one. Number two, a first year law student can probably read the rules and know that the traceability clause is conditional and it comes after 3 or 4 steps have been exhausted before that. And number three, I want to ask you, numbers are important, revenues are not important in India. Well, most of us know, whatever we talk on a WhatsApp with our friends saying that, oh, let's go for a holiday, let's say to Jaipur, or let's say to Dehradun. Suddenly you will see on your Insta, on your Facebook, on your internet connections, all sorts of advertisements popping up, travel agencies, hotels, etc. Are you telling me that privacy is not violated by the companies themselves, Mr. Memon? How do they know what I'm thinking and what I'm discussing with my friends?
Navika, there is a very thin line here. Let us understand that. Let's not get into the politics of it, of what the opposition is saying or what is saying, and the digression of the fact that Twitter and President Trump and all of that. Let's understand, I'm joining this discussion today, not only as a lawyer, but as a concerned citizen of this country. I want to understand in all of the rules that have been framed. First of all, the most important thing is that this subordinate legislation clearly supersedes the IT Act. Very clearly, there has to be a parliamentary debate to it. There has to be an application of mind on how this has come forward. I am not against finding the root cause of any offensive message that could be threat to the country, or it could be offensive, or it could lead to a crime. I'm absolutely for it. But at what expense? Let us understand. WhatsApp is not merely a social media intermediary. It's a significant social media intermediary with more than 500 million subscribers. Whenever WhatsApp will have to adhere to these rules, they will have to penetrate into millions or probably billions of chats, which will include anybody. It could be me, it could be you. How do we assure the security of that? Let me just invite your attention to one important thing. A few months ago, there were certain complex cases, controversial cases which were there, and there were certain investigating agencies which were investigating those cases in which certain WhatsApp chats were revealed. Those chats within no time were made public. Everybody was accessing those chats. How can I, as a citizen, assure that these chats or the penetration of these chats getting into the root of the original chat?
Well, simple way is not to get involved in a crime situation. That's the simple solution that I can think of.
No,
but I'm coming to you, Mohandas Pai. But first to Rajiv Chandrasekhar. An investigation, and if there's been a murder, then there will be an investigation. So, and if these WhatsApp chats with all the encryption are present in an iCloud and can be downloaded from hardware, then I'm sure the technological giants that they are need to figure out between their software and their hardware how do they need to address this. But let them not claim that they have given. They have all claimed that they protect and stand up for privacy, which is not true. But let me get in Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, I want to ask, and this is a point, you've been somebody who's also owned a telecom company in the past, and Dilip Cherian has made a point. Numbers is what is important in India, not revenues. And let's go back to the era when you were, actually managing a telecom company and I was a telecom reporter. Weren't numbers important then? Because numbers are what valuations are all about. And valuations, happen out of these numbers. Revenues are important, but come secretary, but you make most of your money out of valuations. Is that true or wrong, Rajiv Chandrasekhar?
No, and it is true, obviously, but that's the point that Dilip is making is such a tortured point, which is almost like saying that unless a company makes profits, unless the company sees value, they should not be asked to comply with law. This is nonsense. There are hundreds and thousands of Indian companies, big, small today, that have to comply with law. There are hundreds of media houses in the country today that have to comply with law. What is it that gives us today, sitting in Delhi, the ability to make a case that Twitter, that is acting, behaving, and doing everything like a publisher, should be exempt from the law? This is a simple question about getting these big tech companies to comply with Indian law. And to the point that Mr. Memon makes, I'm sorry. I'm assuming he's a learned lawyer and he's a bright man. But this is exactly the wrong argument to make. There is nobody today who's arguing or is saying that these companies have to start inspecting the billions and trillions of packets that are there floating around the messenger. Where did you get that from? Either you've not read the intermediary guidelines, and if there is a case that you are now making on the outside that the intermediary guidelines are a supersession of the IT Act and supersedes the IT Act, that is the case that you should take to the High Court. Why are you taking the case that traceability is a violation of privacy?
But that is precisely, the Honorable MP must know that is precisely the stand what WhatsApp has taken.
You fight it another place. You are just making torture arguments. I agree with Mr. Memon on one thing. Let me just say, I just agree with Mr. Memon on one thing. This should not be a partisan discussion. The issue of regulating big tech applies to every man, woman, and child who is going to be online in this country. There are 800 million Indians today. We are the largest connected nation in the world. We need a modern regulatory framework that makes these big tech companies accountable to their consumers and to the communities they serve. That is what the intermediary guidelines are about. It is not what Tehseen Poonawala's tortured imagination is, or nor is it what Rahul Gandhi's tortured imagination is. This is purely a modern regulatory environment that creates a sense of accountability of these big tech platforms. Ravi Shankar Prasad is right when he has...
Absolutely.
And if there is somebody who wants to challenge this,
I completely agree with you.
Absolutely, and Tehseen Poonawalla, accountability.
So let me reply to that very specifically.
No, accountability. Tehseen Poonawalla, accountability is not important. Are you saying that?
Of course it is. It's the most important thing. And therefore, the Honorable MP on this show will say that his ED is accountable for leaking the chats of Rhea Chakraborty on all news channels while she's innocent until proven guilty and apologize for it. Will the Honorable MP say her private chats were made public? They were displayed. That girl was humiliated. Will the Honorable MP on behalf of his agency apologize to the people of this country with his hands folded? Please don't come here and lecture us on accountability.
Can I answer the question Zulfikar Memon raised?
Shehzad Poonawalla.
Mr. Zulfikar Memon is a learned lawyer and he raised an issue that can actually be used in court of law. And he said that there is no legislation under which these rules could have been taken up because without the it's a subordinate legislation, it's a delegated legislation. How can these rules be framed if there is no main legislation? Sir, you do know that this is matter of interpretation, and Section 69A of the IT Act, it gives the right to the center to block. So very legitimately, these rules can be actually covered under that legislation. So you cannot say, and this is your subjective opinion.
Point well made. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Those who have called the Prime Minister Chaukidar Chor hai without any evidence to the effect, those who have been wrapped by the Supreme Court are today talking about, name calling and destroying of lives. Well, I mean, does that actually add up to you?
No, and this is the irony of this. The Congress that enacted Section 66A, Navika, that could just arrest a person for even thinking something online. These are the people today making themselves the angels of free speech, and really frankly they are not contributing to this national debate that is very necessary to how do we create accountability, how do we create a modern regulatory regime. These big tech platforms have too much power.
Absolutely.
Concentration of power and absolutely no accountability under law, and we need to move to a modern regime, and that is what I think the government is doing.
Navika, if I may just say, I'm saying that
Mohandas Pai, last 30 seconds, closing word.
In this.
Yeah, Navika, this is the issue of individual rights against big tech which enjoy disproportionate rights. We cannot have a digital East India Company anymore. The era of the East India Company is gone. Our rights as citizens of these countries have to be protected against everybody, and only the government can do that under the rule of law laid down by Parliament. And the courts have to protect us. That's the limited point. Everything else is subsidiary. Our rights are under threat. Our rights are not protected by these private platforms. They use our data. They do whatever they want. And remember, as far as technology is concerned, BlackBerry used the same kind of excuse to say encryption. But BlackBerry gave the encrypted data to the United States. They gave it to some governments. Only against India, they're saving encryption. This encryption, an encryption bogey is no longer valid. To me, individual rights have to be protected. We need them to be protected by the government of India, and the courts have to protect them. That is it.
Well, Twitter. Absolutely bingo. Point well taken. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is, when the Supreme Court asks the government to put out guidelines, the government puts out guidelines. It is the private company that takes 90-day period in which they had to comply with the guidelines to stay silent. On the 91st day, they approach the courts. And on the other hand, what happens to the misinformation that these platforms spread? How is that to be tackled? And what about their own violation of citizens' privacy? Because much of our data becomes public through these very platforms. Who protects us? That's the question we have to think about. Thank you very much to my panelists for a very informed debate tonight. Taking a short break. Vaccine wars coming up on the other side.